Well, the United Nations says the world is facing the biggest humanitarian crisis in 70 years. 20 million people in Yemen, Somalia, Nigeria, and South Sudan are at risk of starvation. So to combat this crisis, the UN is asking for $4.4 billion to fight the looming famines. Joining us now is Daniel Bekele, the Africa Division Senior Advocacy Director for Human Rights Watch. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Bekele, can you just explain why exactly the situation is so dire at this very moment?
Thank you. Yeah, indeed, as you described, the situation in all these places, particularly the three places in Africa, Nigeria, South Sudan, and Somalia, is extremely dire as it is in Yemen as well. We're talking about in Nigeria, it is 7 million people who are facing a threat of famine. In Somalia, we're talking about over 6 million, which basically is half of the population. And in South Sudan, it's almost 1 million people we're talking about. It's extremely dire, and the common thread in all these situations is it's happening in a context of a brutal conflict, which has utterly devastated the capacity of communities to survive the difficult times like this. And the UN has made a call for an urgent response, and it is important that the international community needs to be mobilized to act in a timely fashion and not wait until the situation deteriorates to an actual famine.
Daniel, in the past, the U.S. has been the largest donor to UN foreign aid, even last year giving $2 billion. And Trump's proposed budget that would cut all of those funds. They wouldn't donate or provide any money for that program there. If that money goes away, what are the consequences? This is a dire situation.
It's extremely dire situation, and it's extremely unfortunate that a budget cut from the U.S. is coming at such a time when it is critically needed of all the times, whether in terms of humanitarian assistance or the peacekeeping operations that we have in the region are at a time that are extremely and critically needed. We are facing probably one of the largest crises and famine in all these places.
So how much of this do you think is a political move?
A political move on the part of the U.S.? Or
yeah, the U.S., as far as this being a part of our president's budget proposal here. Yeah, or do you think it has anything to do with the politics?
I mean, I think, it's extremely sad and disappointing that the U.S., which has been one of the largest supporters of the humanitarian operation and the peacekeeping operations, and one of the strong supporters of promoting human rights, good governance in Africa as well as in other regions, is stepping back from this role and responsibility at a time, like I said, is hugely needed more than other times.
Talk to me about the impact of if this were to escalate to a severe famine and get worse. How could this affect global security?
It can affect global security in a big way. First and foremost, it's a huge mortality we could be talking about. If you go back only 5 or 6 years to the famine in Somalia in 2001, because the world community has failed to respond in a timely fashion, the death toll was 250,000 people. And people are already on the move. It's a distress migration, and people are being displaced and migrating, and it's exacerbating the conflict situation. This is one of the big peace and security situations we have in the region.
So if the U.S. pulls out, do you see any other countries sort of stepping forward to help?
The UN is making a call for all donor countries and international humanitarian aid agencies to step in, but so far we have not seen any big move by the aid community that could potentially, substitute what might be lost from the US pullout.
It's heartbreaking just to see those pictures and just to see what's going on. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for the opportunity.